course, once again, it is competitive. Maybe not for the right reasons this year, but it's still competitive. Which teams get into the playoffs?
I'm going to go with the Eagles to win the division. I think the Giants are going to come back and beat out the Cowboys for the wild card.
Wow.
The Cowboys have a brutal schedule. San Diego, at New Orleans, at Washington, and home against Philly. I think they're only going to win one of those games and finish 9-7. And the Giants have home against Philly, at Washington, home against Carolina, and at Minnesota. That Minnesota game last week of the season, Minnesota's going to have clinched a bye, not really going to be playing anybody. The Giants will be playing for something, so I think they're going to win that game, and they're going to finish 10-6, and they're going to be at the Cowboys.
When's the last time the Giants beat Minnesota? It's probably the 2001 NFC Championship game. Since then, it's been brutal. If you've ever been to a Giants-Vikings game in the past 4 or 5 years, especially at the Meadowlands, it's a blowout, and the Vikings win. I think the Giants finish the season 9-7, go 2-2. I'm actually going to predict Dallas to win one of their next two games, either home against San Diego or at New Orleans. I think they'll finish 10-6 on the season. The team that's going to win the division, I'll agree with you, Rob, Philadelphia Eagles. Now, here's the weird thing. I don't want to get into too much because we'll talk more postseason later. But it could very much end up where the Eagles are the 3 seed and Dallas is a 6 seed, where you have a case where they may be playing for the NFC East Championship in Week 17 and then have to play each other 6 or 7 days later in the playoffs. And if that happens, that would be the craziest thing. And if Dallas were to lose both of those games, it would be worse than last year's 44-6 defeat.
I don't know. I feel like I hate to see you guys selling Dallas short. Like, I'm an Eagles fan, admittedly. I don't think, one, that the Eagles are going to win the division, and two, I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys are as bad as you guys are saying they are. Like, you're never going to hear me say this again, so everybody savor this. The Cowboys are a stacked team, man. Like, I like watching them play football, and for the most part, they play it right. Like, I can see them beating San Diego. I can see them beating Washington. On a good day, I can see them being the Saints, and I never expect the Eagles to win a divisional game, you know? So it's going to be an interesting 4 weeks, frankly. Would I like to see the Eagles pull it out? Yeah. Can they? Yeah. I don't think the Giants are going to do anything. I lost faith in them when the Eagles beat them. You know, I'm stunned by your lack of faith, guys.
I will say this. I think the Cowboys are very talented. My problem with them is that they never seem to have everything clicking on the same day.
That's true.
You look at the Thanksgiving game against Oakland. They did a very good job running the ball. Sunday, it wasn't on. I mean, the two Giants games, to me, is a perfect example. Yeah, the running game absolutely dominate the Giants in Week 2. Tony Romo struggled. This time, Tony Romo did very good short and intermediate routes where they've struggled in past games. Denver comes to mind. They were good in a deep game before. Wasn't good with a deep game now. And the running game struggled against the Giants. It just doesn't seem like everything's clicking, and you have such a tough schedule. I don't think the Cowboys are a bad team or that they're necessarily a team that will collapse again. It's just they have such a tough schedule. They might finish 2-2 to end the season, and they have the tiebreaker against them.
Yeah, I see Eagles, Cowboys myself. I think the Eagles win the division, and Cowboys, take the wild card, and they'll take the last spot. And again, 3 versus 6. Let's move on. NFL MVP. Who do you think's got it? Got some huge candidates out there. Who do you think's going to take it?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's such a close race. If you remember, I believe it was 2003, they had co-MVPs, Peyton Manning and Steve McNair. I'm predicting for the first time 3 co-MVPs. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Brett Favre. I just don't know how you can pick any of these guys over the other. They're having such phenomenal seasons. I
think if the Saints finish undefeated, Brees gets it. Period. I don't see. Same thing with Indy. If Indy finishes undefeated, they get it, and if both Indy and the Saints, then they both get it. I don't see a scenario where Brett Favre gets it unless he has 400 yards games.
My only issue with giving it to Brett Favre is this year he's actually had somewhat of a running game. AP has been doing something. Reggie Bush has not done much.
Well, it's not a team built. It's built
right.
on
it's
Thomas,
not. It's
Mike Bell and Mike Bell.
Yeah, they have 3 headed.
I mean, it's not a team that's based in running. running the ball.
It's
But
like fundamental football.
still, at least with the Vikings, you have a monster in Adrian Peterson who can go off
Let's not
for
forget
100,
about Chester
150 yards. And
Chester
Chester
Taylor can
Taylor's
easily
he's a great
break
back,
off a
but
100-yard game.
right, they can both break off games. That's why I'm not going to
Exactly.
give it to Brett Favre because as much as I would love to give it
can't
to him,
justify
but
it.
I can't justify giving him
Brett.
that because he throws the ball maybe 40 times a game, but he still has a running back who can destroy everyone. I think Breeze and Peyton Manning will share the MVP this year, though.
I will say this: you have a case right now where both Peyton Manning and Brett Favre have 3 MVPs each. These two guys are going to battle each other. And if one of them gets the 4th MVP, there might be a little bit of a controversy. On the other hand, you have Drew Brees, who's never won MVP, leading the Saints, they never started 7-0, let alone 8-0, let alone 12-0 on the season. You have arguably the worst franchise ever, starting 12-0 in a season with a quarterback who's been up in the MVP race but who's never got it. I think the voters put that in their minds, and all the Saints have to do is at least get 14 or 15 wins, and I think he gets the MVP. And I think that's the thinking, is that we don't want to ruffle people's feathers by giving either Manning or Favre number 4 when we can give a guy who's brought this unexpected team that was 8-8 last year to a possible undefeated season.
And more for Breeze. Let's go back 5 or 6 years where fans had paper bags on their heads and there was talk of possibly relocating the team.
Yeah.
This is a huge step forward for them. And if this MVP could be huge for the entire team. All right, well, we got to throw it off to a break. We'll be back with more Face Off right after this.